Hi everyone, for tonight's Nightcap and review, I'm having a sports drink because it's hot where I am. And tonight I'll be discussing Broken Bonds by Bree. I think this was gifted to me, but I did read the version off of KU, and of course I'm giving my honest opinion. Here are the highlights. And there were no listed content warnings, and I gave this a 3.75. Now remember, reading is subjective and not every book is for every reader, and this just may not have been the book for me, but if it sounds like something you're interested in, I strongly encourage you to give it a try for yourself, and I hope you love it. Now, what's this book about? So this book is about Oriander, who after the death of her mother and bondmates went on the run not just for her protection, but also for the protection of her own bonds. Because while she would have loved nothing more than to run into their arms and embrace the bond, the reality is that it would have taken her already powerful and unstable gift and enhance it to such a degree that it would put them all at risk, as well as it would paint a target on their backs by the resistance, who is kidnapping powerful individuals and bondage units. So while it may not have been the best thing to do, and while it may mean her mates hate her forever, it was the only thing that she could think of. Now she's been on the run for 5 years until one day a tactical team tracks her down and drags her back home to her bonded, who have no idea what she has done to keep them safe, but will make her regret every day she chose to run from them instead of toward them. So are my thoughts. Again, I'm giving this a 3.75. Now, this book is a bit of a mix for me, and I'm mostly going to discuss the things I didn't quite vibe with because that's my lasting impressions of this book. If that's not your cup of tea, feel free to keep scrolling. The first is between the prologue and the first chapter. For me, it felt like a couple chapters were missing, and that left me confused. And that also ties into the lack of world building, at least not to the way I prefer, where I prefer info dumps all encompassing at the start of the book, while here it felt like the bare minimum scattered throughout the book, and it left me kind of confused, and I think it also led to some inconsistencies as it surrounds the bonds, which is a major element of this book. So in total, it left me very confused and frustrated. So much so, I almost DNF'd this book. But with how popular it is, as well as I will admit, it is a very easy book to read, I was like, why not stick with it? And I will say the last couple chapters, especially that ending, I was locked into and I did enjoy it, as well as the men in this book have pissed me off so much and I need to see them grovel that I'm actually kind of curious about the next book. Now, when it comes to the bonds in this book, which is a major element, I mean, it's in the title, there were just some inconsistencies or even some contradictions that I personally didn't quite vibe with. First, we have Oriander, who ran away from her bondmates, who are essentially her soulmates. So they feel rejected. They're entitled to their feelings for being rejected. But them and the community have a way overreaction, in my opinion. Like, the community's allowed to have their opinions, but what they did to her was, again, just so horrible. But it is such a taboo for them that they spent years trying to track her down, send a tactical team once they find her, kidnap her, put a tracking device in her with an anti-tamper device that if she tampers with it because they don't want her running away again, it will electrocute her. Then you have a guard coming out and saying that her bondmates should force the bond on her, which happens during sex. So basically this guard is advocating for her bondmates to grape her. And that just seems like an overreaction for a simple soulmate rejection kind of thing. But then we find out forming a bond enhances everyone's powers when the guard then says, how dare she deny these men their power? So then it took on an air of misogyny that didn't really vibe with the rest of the book. I don't think it's a theme the author's trying to convey, but we have a counter couple, which I get what the author's trying to do. She's trying to give Oriander a friend who kind of to a degree understands what she's going through, Sage. And it just kind of reinforces that misogyny there again, because Sage's situation is she has two bondmates, a male and a female. She has no real issue with the bondmates other than she wishes the female would treat her better and that the male bondmate wouldn't reject her. The male bondmate is rejecting her simply over the fact that he prefers the other female in the group. So much that it's weird that the community is rallying around him. Her own family are rallying and fawning over him, but everyone else is shunning her over the preferences of a man. And there's the misogyny aspect. But it's not like the women in this book are being diminished or held down for their powers. There are several powerful women in this book, including Sage, but yet she's being shunned by everyone, being denied her power by a man who's doing essentially the same thing as Oriander. So that personally for me wasn't quite vibing, and it didn't quite match with the rest of the book, in my opinion. Overall, this wasn't 100% the book for me. There were some other elements, especially around the bond, that I'm not going to get into, but they reign inconsistent. But the way it ended intrigued me enough, and I need to read about these men groveling, that I might read the next book. I'm not sure. I really am not sure. But if this sounds like a book you're interested in, I strongly encourage you to give it a try for yourself. The whole series is available in KU. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope everyone has a good night and happy readings.